I'm back. Episode 5, officially episode 5, I should say. We had an emergency episode Saturday night after the Florida USF game. I only posted it to YouTube because I felt personally that emergency episode, it was a strictly just Florida Gators, dumpster fire, the world is ending, the sky is falling, everything like that. And I personally felt that the video was needed. I think actually the video uploads to Spotify, but I just did it to YouTube. I wanted everyone to go to YouTube and watch that. If you wanted to, you don't even have to be a Florida fan. Honestly, I think if you're not a Florida fan, if you are a fan of a team that doesn't like to, as a Florida rival, me personally, I think you'd enjoy it more. But this is officially episode 5, especially because this is going to be on Spotify. It is Thursday, the day after September 10th. I'm not going to say the date for respectful purposes. We've got a cool shirt on. We've got two guys. If you can't tell, these two guys grilling out. Because why can't we all be friends and just eat some burgers and dogs? That'd be this weekend probably. You could probably assume which one I am out of the two. I think you can guess. Leave it at that. But we have a jam-packed episode scheduled here tonight. I skipped the Tuesday/Wednesday ep. I kind of had some stuff to do after work, and yeah, I was just a little busy after work outside of it, and I wasn't able to, really drill down an agenda for it. And you know me. Look, I'm gonna give you guys my all. I don't want to give you guys a B+ performance, or actually, I don't want to give you guys what I think is a C-, C+ performance going into it. I want to go in with a jam-packed agenda, fully pumped up, like I want to be ready for it, okay? And I feel like I'm ready for it now, okay? It's Thursday. We're done. One more work day for the week. Tomorrow's Friday, so like work is honestly 50% easier. It's Andy math. I don't really care. But we have a huge agenda. We've got to, I think we might slightly recap NFL, college football last weekend, but it's so far over with already that you guys don't really care anymore. It's more about the primers, the headlines for this weekend coming up. We've got Thursday night football tonight, NFL. I believe there is a college game. I don't really think it's a prominent one. I'm going to go try to check real quick. But, excuse me. Sorry. Wow, I just burped on here. All right, I'm so sorry for that. NC State Wake Forest tonight, actually. That's a decent game. That's a conference matchup, if you're not aware. ACC matchup. A lot of schools, some started last weekend conference play, but a lot of schools this weekend start conference play, especially Big Ten and ACC schools that play 9 conference games. The SEC will be going to that next season, so that stinks. Florida's schedule will get even harder. I don't even know why I say that, because they can't even beat South Florida. You can't even beat the Cupcake. We're not getting back into that. We're moving on. That was last weekend. They're going to lose this weekend. It doesn't really change anything. But the agenda for this episode, we got a couple random Andy thoughts that I had. A couple, stuff that's going on in my life I got to talk about that I think you guys would enjoy, get a kick out of. We've got the NCAA NFL Week 3/Week 2 primers, respectively. And really, we're just going to dive into it, okay? A little bit long on the intro, but I don't really care. We do what we want here. You guys love it, I hope. If you don't, I'm sorry. We will have to change. We got drink in our cup. We're ready to roll. We got vodka. I went to the store tonight, got some. I'm trying out. I usually do Gatorade, some blue Gatorade Zero with this, but we got Powerade Zero. We got one of each, actually. One bottle of the Gatorade Zero, one bottle of the blue Powerade Zero. So we're trying out the Powerade. Pretty freaking good. I can't lie. It's banger. It's 9 out of 10. If you guys are watching the video portion of this, I trimmed. I got a new trimmer for the face, and it actually trims it a lot more. I look more almost baby face after I do it than typical, but I don't mind it. But I trimmed a little bit off the mustache, and last night it doesn't look as bad today, I think. But last night I was kind of getting, I don't even know if I can say this online on the air, but I was kind of getting like Hitler vibes from it. I was getting a little bit of Nazi Germany leader vibes from that, and I was like, okay, I can't go that short again on the sides, because I don't want anyone thinking that at all. I don't want to be associated with that, obviously, but I had to get that out there. In case you saw it and maybe thunk it for a second, get it out of your mind. That's not what I was going for, right? Moving on. I've got one more headline before we get into the college football and NFL primers. I am taking a trip next month, towards the end of October, to a regular listener and maybe a viewer. I don't know. Maybe he just listens to it. I don't really care. We appreciate it regardless. But my good friend Connor Record, been friends with him since childhood. He lives far away now. That asshole moved away from me last year to go be with his wife and her kid, which is now his kid, but now he just got another kid. So I'm going to see that. Selfishly, he moved away from me. I love him to death. I'm going to see him. But flying in to Kansas City. And so what the plan was I was looking at flights out of the motherland, Jacksonville to Kansas City, MCI, which I realized that yesterday. Joel told me that. That's the acronym for the airport. Now I'm an expert on it because I was looking for so long last night, but I was looking outside flights from Jacksonville to Kansas City, and then I was also looking at flights out of Orlando to Kansas City, seeing what was cheaper, stuff like that, because I flew to Colorado earlier this year, and the flights from Orlando to there were, no joke, $200 or $300 cheaper. It's kind of insane. But I was kind of an idiot. We get beef with Spirit Airlines, but before we get to that, I was kind of an idiot. I was looking at flights out of Orlando to Kansas City, and I would leave not this Thursday, but when I'm flying out, I would leave on Thursday night, fly in, get there around 10 p.m. their time, and I'd fly home, ass crack of dawn Sunday morning, which I don't mind, but I was just looking, thinking maybe we could find something a little more reasonable. And my, very intelligent behind thought, well, what if I fly out of Orlando to Kansas City. Now, what if I maybe see what flights, if Kansas City to Jacksonville are a little bit cheaper, flying home to Jacksonville, because then I'm closer. It's a shorter drive home. Unbeknownst to me, I was literally about to buy the ticket to go. So I would have been flying from Orlando to Kansas City and then flying back from Kansas City to Jacksonville. Hey, newsflash, idiot! Your car is going to be in Orlando. That never crossed my mind until I was in the checkout line about to pay for the tickets. Wow, that's a reality check right there. Gut punch to the ego. I didn't even have one and I still got gut punched. But regardless, moving on. I found a flight, I just settled. We were going to fly out Thursday night, come back really early Sunday morning, drive back from Orlando. Diddly-do, we'll be back at work that Monday, Only had to use one day of PTO. But the problem was I was going to check out with on the Spirit Airlines website. And little did I know, I've never flown Spirit yet, so already we're getting off on the right foot, but strong start, clearly, as you can tell. They don't accept Discover as a form of payment. They just recently did that this year, I guess, so there goes that option right out of the window, okay? My other payment option is Visa, which, hey, they accept Visa. It showed the little emblem when you go to put in your card number. It showed the little Visa emblem. I'm like, okay, we're good. We're perfectly fine. Well, I don't know why. Every time I entered the card number, it kept saying, it would read out the box, highlight the box in red and say, please enter a valid form of payment. Hey, assholes! You said Visa was valid. I'm entering a card number that is Visa. What aren't we understanding here? It's like Tesla. It's like Tetris. The block fits in the space, and you just block it out. There's like an invisible barrier there. It's like, nope, not gonna work. What are we doing here? So I try about 6 or 7 different times. Let me take a sip real quick. I try about 6 or 7 times, and I say, screw it. Let me go to the support line. It's a chat thing, the AI bot thing, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. It's asking me for all this information. And I said, dude, I don't even have the flight booked. I'm literally not even past step 1. I haven't even booked the flight yet. And so I end up just saying, I say, hey, put me with a live agent. I don't really care. We're not beating around the bush. It says you're in the queue. Estimated wait time is about 30 minutes. Yeah, 75 minutes later, Joseph, I put in air quotes, comes onto the text line. He goes, hello, Andrew. He says Andrew first, okay? Spells out Andrew. He goes, how may I help you tonight? And I told him the situation. He goes, and you know what he responds with? Second message. I've waited almost an hour and a half at this point, and his second message to me is, sorry to hear that. Give us a call at this number instead. I don't think we're going to be able to validate the payment over this. Are you kidding me? I just wasted an hour and a half of my night waiting on you to respond, and 2 messages later you say, yeah, I can't help you, boss. You're going to have to call the number. Oh my God, I was fierce. I didn't even get the tickets yet. I don't even have the plane tickets yet. I got to call them at some point. Or just maybe the Visa will start working. But, however, sum that all up, we've got beef with Spirit Airlines. I don't really understand why I put in the Visa card, you say you accept Visa, and then you block me. Honest to God, Spirit Airlines, you're kind of acting like a woman right now, okay? You say one thing, I do the one thing, and then you get mad at me. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Deep breath. And now we move on to the fun part of this. College football week 3, NFL week 2. It was a banger last week on both ends, college football and NFL. As a casual fan, great games all around. I think college had better headlines towards the day. The night games are a little boring. The Michigan-Oklahoma, kind of a snoozer. Oklahoma kind of put it on them. As expected, it was a defensive battle. Freshman quarterback at Michigan, Bryce Underwood, just didn't really compete that well. He'll be good in due time. But week 3, we've got some headlines. And I am ready for it. I hope you guys are too. Florida season's already over. As you guys watch the emergency episode, the emergency pod, I called it because they don't even reserve the talk show delegation, in my opinion. I'm just saying. But week 3, the official week 3, the headliners, the headline matchups are, these are, in my opinion, Clemson at Georgia Tech. Now look, Georgia Tech's unranked, but look, they're 2-0. Clemson 21. Their offense has been very stagnant so far through the first 2 games. I mean, Clemson was literally down either 16-0 or 16-3 to Troy. Not Troy Bolton from High School Musical, Troy University, okay? They were down at halftime 16-3, okay? That's not acceptable. How do you score 3 points in 1 half against Troy with your starters? Whatever. Regardless, both teams starting ACC play. ACC plays 9 games, so obviously they start a week earlier than SEC does. But this is a big game. I mean, this has, in my opinion, and I think this might be of the popular variety, this has ACC championship implications written all over it. I mean, because even if whoever loses this game, whatever it is, whoever loses this game, they may still end up 8-1 in conference play or 7-2. The problem is the other team's going to have the tiebreaker. ACC is very top-heavy this year. It got a little bit deeper with FSU, surprising everyone. Alabama, upsetting Alabama week 1, just steamrolling the directional school in week 2, East Texas A&M. That's way too long of a name. We don't need all of that. Just say, you shouldn't even exist, actually. East Texas A&M. There should just be Texas A&M. It's that simple. We're moving on. But FSU surprised people. So the ACC, I can't really say the power rankings, but it's probably Miami, Clemson, FSU, Georgia Tech, maybe. And I think Louisville might be in there as well, if I had to guess. But this has huge implications for the ACC championship. Whoever wins this game, I don't want to say they're booked for the ACC championship. I'm just saying that your season might go off the rails. I mean, Clemson, if you start out 1-2 and 0-1 in conference play to one of the top teams in the ACC, it's scary hours. I'm sorry, Joel, you might need to plug your ears, but it's kind of scary hours. I'm not going to lie. That's terrifying. Clemson returned just about everybody from this past season. They got some transfers. Dabo actually started, hit the portal up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. He doesn't really use it. He kind of just says, we believe in NIL, the name, image, and likeness of God. Okay, Dabo, I understand you're a religious man, not gonna fault you for it, but we need some dogs, okay? That's what we need. But what's the word I'm looking for? They dabbled in the transfer portal. Everyone thought, hey, this is a set it and forget it, playoff contender, national title contender, honestly. I mean, they were kind of getting whooped by Texas last year in the playoffs, but they made it a game in the end. I mean, this is a team that, theoretically, they returned so much of their top-end talent. You're supposed to contend. You're supposed to almost cakewalk that ACC. At worst, go 10-2, at worst. But if you start the season 1-2, I mean, holy guacamole. What a wake-up call for Dabo, the team, the fans, the boosters, Joel, everybody. Moving on. I went way too far into that first matchup. I was just really freaking excited. I mean, come on. How are you? We start off Saturday with that. 12 o'clock, Big Noon. Screw you, Big Noon and Fox. It comes to Georgia Tech, baby. It's in hot Atlanta. Bobby Sparta's going to be there. He said he has a really good song. I can't say the word, though, but he has a really good song. I can't say the lyrics. But moving on, other headline matchups for the week. Obviously, to an outside fan that's not to an outside person that's not a Florida fan, Florida at LSU. That's a banger of a matchup. Florida's unranked now, but that's still going to be I think, and this isn't even Florida shaders on. I don't have my Florida fan shaders on. I still think it's going to come down to the wire. Me personally, I think so. The team, for some reason, just loves Billy Napier. They love him to death. They always play hard for him. Why? I don't understand, because the guy has proven time and time again over these 4 seasons. This is his 4th season. Over the 4 seasons that he's been at Florida, he just is incapable of building and maintaining momentum, whether that is on the field, recruiting, all that, off the field stuff. And he can't call plays to save his life against quality opponents. Not consistently, he cannot. I mean, I heard a stat. Florida upset LSU at home last season, basically completely ruined their playoff chances. LSU ran 49 more plays on offense than Florida. Florida won the game by 11 or by 13. Okay, cool. You want to get by 2 scores. You got out possessed by 50 plays. Like, that's not sustainable. Looking back, as the future unfolds, that's more of a fluke than anything. That's more of LSU couldn't get the big play. They just choked in the big moment. And Florida made the big play. The problem is, if you take that, extrapolate that over an 8-game SEC schedule, and your offense is running 50 less plays than the opposing offense every single game, you're probably going to go 1-7 at best. Okay? Like, let's just be real. I mean, we're going off on tangents right now. Billy, you're pissing me off again, okay? I take another sip. The mouth was quite parched. Needed it. Okay, moving on. Florida LSU, I think the spread right now is 6.5, or it was 6.5. I think it might have grown over the week. It's 7.5 now. Got bigger. It's 7.5. Pulse. Don't think of that. But I still think it'll be a good game. I don't think Florida comes out on the right end of that, but hey, surprise me. Season's still over. I don't really care. But moving on. Notre Dame, they lost week 1 to Miami. It was a hell of a game. Okay, I'm sorry. It's a hell of a game. First half, a little boring. Took Notre Dame a little bit to get going, get the wheels going. CJ Carr, low-key, he might be pretty dang good for them. He might be enough for them to make the playoffs again and just make it back to the maybe not to the national championship, but at least contend for this, quarterfinals, semifinals, something like that. But they lost Miami week 1, had a bye week. They were off last week, which is kind of weird. I mean, you play 1 game in week 1 and then you're off in week 2. Like, that stinks. I'm not going to lie. But you get, you have a quality opponent again in week 3. Texas A&M's coming to town. The Aggies are coming to town with that oral money. I don't care. Give me the Irish. The Irish are actually, somehow, they're 6.5-point favorites. I'm a little shocked by that. This is coming from someone who was a Notre Dame hater up until probably circa last season, before they made the Natty Championship. But I watched them a lot in the playoffs. I watched them, against Miami. I like their team, man. Marcus Freeman runs a good program. They have a nasty defense. Like, they're going to get after it. They're always going to try to bring their A game. Like, they're not going to have an off day, hopefully. Knock on wood. But Texas A&M, I'm still not sold on the quarterback play. Marcel Reed, he's more of a one-trick pony. He can run it a little bit. But their MO is ground and pound. Like, run the ball. We're gonna run the ball down your throats all game. Like, we are tougher than you up front on both sides of the ball, offense, defense. We're gonna out tough you. We're gonna run the ball, and we're gonna take some deep shots with Marcel Reed, and we're gonna connect with some of them, and we're gonna beat you. That's all fine and dandy, but you play in the SEC, where a lot of those teams build up the trenches. I don't know, man. I'm still not sold on them yet. I think I may be a little tainted from the from the Dabo. No, not Dabo. God, the Jimbo years. Sorry. The Jimbo Fisher years, where he just underperformed with all that talent. We'll see. I do like their coach. I think he's a pretty good coach, Mike Elko, but I just like I like Notre Dame in this one. I really do. They're all at home. They're at home off a bye week. It's their home opener. It's at night, 7:30. NBC's there. Peacock is there. I might be there. I'm not. I can't afford it. But I like Notre Dame in that one. Moving right along here. Another one. Vanderbilt at South Carolina. I think this one's going very under the radar. I think Vanderbilt might win this game. South Carolina is a 3.5-point favorite, but mind you, I think a couple of those, the home team always gets a couple points just because of home crowd advantage. And hey, Williams Brice Stadium, that place is a really good atmosphere when the team's good, when there's a lot of hype around the program, in which there is this season. There's a lot of hype around the program. Lenore Sellers, Heisman contender. The problem is, I just think Vanderbilt isn't getting the respect they deserve. I mean, they both have a common opponent already, which is very odd. In 2 weeks into the season, it's very odd to have a common opponent. They both have played Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech kind of took South Carolina down to the wire in week 0, in that week 0 game. Or no, that was week 1. Sorry, week 1, Labor Day weekend. They kind of took them down to the wire. It was a very close game. South Carolina had some special teams plays, which, hey, that happens, it's happened. You can't, discredit that. But it did happen. But I don't think people understand. Vanderbilt put belt to ass to Virginia Tech last weekend on the road, mind you. I think it was on the road. I don't know. Regardless, they put belt to ass to Virginia Tech in the second half. I think they won the game 44-20 or something, and they outscored them like 32-0 in the second half. I could be completely off. All I know is they just ran all over them in the second half. They did whatever they wanted. Call me crazy. Vanderbilt could upset that game. I would not be shocked whatsoever. Am I betting on it? Hell no. I'm not. I don't trust either of those teams. But just saying, watch out for that game. This is why I call it headliners, okay? My favorite headliner of the week. The New Mexico University Lobos. I believe it's New Mexico Lobos. Or maybe is that New Mexico State Lobos? I'm not sure. But, however, they travel all the way out to UCLA. They're going to play in the Rose Bowl Stadium, okay? You guys see where I'm going with this? The Fighting Nico Amayalevas. I am not even going to try to repeat that. They are 0-2, okay? They lost week 1. And actually, they got blown out week 1 by Utah, who sneaky might be the Big 12 favorite. Saying, throwing it out there. The Fighting Utes, they might be. They got blown out, though. Last weekend, the Fighting Dan Mullins came to town. Former Florida coach Dan Mullen, first season back of coaching with UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, or Nevada, however you want to say it. He came. They upset UCLA. I mean, that's a G5 school. Going, upsetting UCLA, a Power 4 school, like, a 5-star quarterback transferred in there. I don't know, man. It's scary hours. I'm just saying. This game's tomorrow night. This game's actually not Saturday. This game's tomorrow night. New Mexico at UCLA. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Local time, 7 p.m. obviously because it's in California. Tickets are as low as $7 according to ESPN. People are sleeping on this game. I'm just saying, don't sleep on it. If I lived out there, I think I might attend this game. It's a 14.5-point spread in UCLA's favor. I put this as part of my just outlandish college football parlay of the week. And I'm pretty sure I got New Mexico State plus 17.5 on this one. So, hey, call me crazy, but the line's moved 2 or 3 points already. I don't know, man. It could be a little spooky. Okay? It could be a little spooky. I'm just saying. Don't sleep on it. Last headliner of the week. Okay? Mike, if you're listening to this, Mike is an avid Tennessee fan. He's a Tennessee grad. I didn't forget about it. Trust me. Georgia at Tennessee. Best game of the week. Headline-wise, rank-wise, probably. Well, actually, no, yeah, rank-wise. Don't sleep on this game. Tennessee has not beaten Georgia since, I believe, 2016 or 2017. I can't remember. It's one of those 2 years. It's been a while. Georgia's like the boogeyman, man. Kirby Smart is the boogeyman. He has Florida's number. He has Tennessee's number. He has Auburn's number. All of Georgia's rivals outside of Alabama, basically, which, hey, he won a national championship against Alabama, so he's 1-1 in the Natty against Bama, but that aside, their 3 main rivals, if I had to guess, are Florida, Tennessee, and Auburn. The guy doesn't lose to any of those teams. I'm not going to lie. Florida's not beaten them since 2020, the COVID season. I don't really know the last time Auburn beat Georgia. If we're being frank, I really do not know. And Tennessee, obviously, like I just said, hasn't beaten them in 8 or 9 years. Okay, they take care of business against the rivals. Okay, like Georgia, perennial national championship contender. It is what it is. Yada yada yada. What's that coming down the track? However, both teams have some major question marks. Georgia's O-line has not looked like the Georgia O-line of typical, really. I mean, they usually just bully everyone. Now, look, it could be the first 2 weeks. You know, they played Marshall week 1. Last week they played Austin P. They kind of played with their food a little bit. Didn't really blow them out. I don't really take much stock in it. First 2 weeks, it's cupcakes. They might have been looking ahead to Tennessee. I'm not gonna. It might have just been hey, look, let's just play the power run. Let's just get through this game and get to conference play unscathed. You know, we got a big game week 1 of conference play. We do. You're going on the road. You're going to Knoxville, Tennessee. You're Neyland Stadium. I don't know if they're doing the checkerboard thing, but anytime I see the checkerboard thing on the TV, kind of gets me aroused. It gets me ready, gets me fired up, man. It does. I'm just saying. Throwing it out there. The orange and white checkerboard's sick. Cool tradition. I don't really know how this game is going to go. Genuinely, I have no idea. This game is part of our little pick'em league with me and a couple buddies from college. I think right now I have Georgia winning. The problem is I don't know because both teams have new quarterbacks. Georgia's still just, they don't look like the dominant Georgia of past, but the problem is they just have that edge against their rivals. I don't know what to do with this game, man. I really do not. My heart really wants Tennessee. I do not want Georgia to win. I hate Georgia so much. I hate Georgia just as much as I hate Florida State as a fan, as I hate Miami, as a Jags fan, as I hate Tennessee and Houston, and you know what I mean? I'm going to pick with my heart on this one. I'm going to go Tennessee. I don't care. I really hope Tennessee wins this game. I want them to win this game. I got Tennessee upsetting Georgia at home. Cool. Let's go. Book it. Put it on the board. Those enough for my headliners of the week for college football. I'm trying to think of what I want to do. Do I just want to go straight into NFL? No, actually, I don't. I did have another thing to play or to list as my college football. I'm going to call it Andylytics. Andy's Analytics, you know, Andylytics, whatever. I'm a big stats nerd, but these don't even really take stats. These are just things you need to live by. Mottos to live by if you're a fan of a, you know, maybe prominent college football team. Number 1. Or not even number 1. We're just going to list them all right away. I have 3 rules. You have to live by 3 rules. These teams you cannot lose to. Don't lose to food. Don't lose to directional schools. And don't lose to toothpaste. Okay? Third one might have thrown you off. Now, food. There's Rice University. They're off this week. I didn't even know this until I was listening to some talk show before the season started. Rice is in the Big 12. When did they become a Power 4 conference school? It's Rice. It's literally a side dish. Why are they in a power conference? However, set it aside. Don't get worked up over Rice, okay? I'm a potato guy myself. You know, Idaho. Let's go. Big potato guy. But don't lose to food. It's that simple. There's probably other food teams. Maybe. I don't really know if there is. Don't lose to food. If you lose to Rice, your season's over. Okay? Don't lose to directional schools. I just mentioned this earlier with Florida State. They kind of a war crime what they did to East Texas A&M University last weekend. That is a mouthful, and again, it should not be your school's name. I don't really care what you say. That's just, no. You don't lose to East, South Florida. Again, you as a look, I don't mean this as if your school is on the same playing field as these teams. If your school is a Power 4 school, Rice aside, you're not a part of this conversation. You should not be losing to these 3 teams. You should not be losing to these 3 categories. Don't lose to food, don't lose to directional schools, and don't lose to toothpaste. Colgate University. Syracuse plays them this weekend. Fran Brown, what are we doing here? Seriously, you scheduled Tennessee week 1. Okay, got popped in the mouth. I think everyone kind of saw it coming because you lost your quarterback to the NFL. A lot to replace overall roster-wise. Okay, cool. Tennessee is a powerhouse. Kind of turned into a juggernaut in terms of just I think they're going to be a playoff contender every year going forward, Josh Heupel. But you beat UConn, University of UConn, University of Connecticut, last weekend in an overtime thriller, okay? Hey, I'm not faulting you for going to overtime. You won the game. It's all that matters. You got your first win of the season. But why are we playing Toothpaste U in week 3? You guys start conference play next weekend, okay? Like, do you not understand that? Are we missing this? You guys play conference. Like, you guys start in the ACC next weekend, okay? I'm going to pull up who y'all face next weekend when you start conference play, okay? But this is a week 1 game. And even if you play Tennessee week 1, okay? This is a week 2 game, okay? Like, we shouldn't be playing a freaking dental hygiene school in week 3. Next weekend, you're on the road in Death Valley, Clemson. Maybe the second best Death Valley after week 1. Sorry, Joel. Had to throw another jab in there. LSU is the real Death Valley until proven otherwise. But you're in the other Death Valley next weekend at 12 o'clock. What part of Colgate University is preparing you for the Clemson Tigers? I'll answer for you. Nothing! Nothing at all, okay? I don't even care about my rules anymore. Don't lose to toothpaste. Don't even play toothpaste. Why are we playing them in week... I'm getting worked up. We gotta move right along. I cannot believe that. I saw that this weekend, or I saw that tonight, prepping for the show. What are we doing? Seriously, what are we doing playing Colgate in freaking... What's next? Crest in week 7? Get out of here. Get out of here. We're gonna take a slight intermission. I'm gonna get a refill. Pee break. We'll be right back. NFL Week 2, I am very excited for it. Not just because the Jags won last weekend. Overall, it's the NFL, man. It's football. It's sports, football. I don't really care. Look, I'm so excited for college football. Florida's season is literally over after 2 weeks. Don't really care. I'm still excited for it. Just because my team sucked doesn't mean I can't be excited for it. I think part of it may be accustomed to, or maybe because I've grown accustomed to my team sucking. And by the time September is over, my team seasons are over. So I kind of have to adjust if I don't want to be miserable for 4 months. I just appreciate some good, hard-nosed football, man. Competitive. Let's go. NFL Week 2. We got it tonight coming up. Washington, Green Bay. I don't remember what I did for my picks on the show last week, but I did a very dumb $1 bet on a 13-leg parlay for all of the... No, 14-leg parlay. Sorry, 14-leg parlay for all of the Sunday games. So last weekend, it was $1 to win $462. It was just straight money lines. No, covering the spread. No over/under on the totals. No, none of that, fancy schmancy mumbo jumbo. It was just straight money lines. Who do you think is going to win? I came this close to being $462 richer at this point. Unfortunately, the Mike Vrabel inspired Patriots weren't very inspired offensively because you put up 13 points against the measly Raiders of Las Vegas. What are we doing, man? I had the Patriots beating the Raiders at home. Season opener, season debut, team debut, coaching debut, whatever you want to call it, debut for Mike Vrabel for the Patriots. He took a year off after getting fired by the Titans. A lot of hype around the Patriots this go around. They really like Drake May. They signed Stephon Diggs, kind of some off-the-field drama with him, but he's still a pretty good receiver. Really good defense. They made a ton of free agent signings on the defensive side of the ball, which is Mike Vrabel's, expertise. They let me down. Geno Smith and Pete Carroll look like prime Geno Smith and Pete Carroll against y'all. What the hell, man? Oh, well, it's okay. I did another one today. $1 for, it was a little bit less, like $350, I think. We did money lines. I think we did 2 spreads, I believe. I believe we did 2 teams covering on the NFL. I'm not going to pull it up right now. Vibe killer. It's not really that worth it. But we did the same thing. I think I might do more of those. I did a $1 as well. 20-leg NCAA parlay, which is absurd. It's, It's basically a lock. It's 20 legs. It's going to work, Don't doubt me, okay? But I do want to preface this. If any of my bets don't hit, it's not my fault. It wasn't poor judgment on my part. It's because the players and the coaches sucked, okay? Let me just put that out there. I just want you guys to remember that analytics never fails. It's always the coach's faults or the players' faults. Or maybe even the fans' faults. Maybe they weren't contributing enough to the whole team, Hey, just throwing it out there. It's never my fault, though, okay? However, Week 2 of the NFL starts tonight. We've got the Commanders on the road traveling to Green Bay to Lambeau Field. I really got to get to a game in Lambeau Field at some point in my life. I just really want to see myself one day wearing the cheese head in Lambeau cheering on the Packers. I mean, my life might come as close to being complete as it could ever be. Yeah. I think the only other closest thing would be, maybe, just throwing it out there, maybe just finding a girlfriend. Oh, well, it's not going to happen. That's okay. It's okay. I just need cheese head in my life. That's it. However, I'm going to go game by game with the picks. Green Bay hosting Washington. They're favored by 3.5. I'm going to go Green Bay. I don't know if I'll probably take the points as well. The spread. I think they could win this game by 3. I think they win this game. I'm just going to say Green Bay. Jacksonville at Cincinnati on Sunday. We're going to skip this for now. We'll come back to it. New York, the Giants at the Cowboys. Divisional matchup. I'm going to go Cowboys. They actually played Philly very tough last week. Neither defense could stop anyone in the first half. The second half was very much improved defensively. But I'm going to go Cowboys there. Chicago at Detroit. That's a very interesting game. The NFL has a lot of really good headlines this weekend. Ben Johnson, the old offensive coordinator for the Lions, he's the head coach at Chicago for the Bears. This is his first time returning, obviously, to Detroit because this is his first season coaching. So that'll be a cool little revenge plot. I'm curious to see how it goes. Neither team looked very dominant or super inspiring week 1. So we'll see kind of who takes the crown here. But I think I'll go Detroit just because they're the home team. They're 6.5-point favorites, which I find a little odd because I think Chicago looked better overall than Detroit. But look, Detroit has a ton of offensive talent. They have a ton of defensive talent. Could have just been, the Green Bay's really good. They lost to Green Bay week 1. I think the Green Bay's really good, but I'm going to go Detroit. I don't think I'd take the points, though. I think it's a close game. I think Detroit wins a very close game. Moving on. The Rams of Los Angeles. Just in case y'all weren't aware, the Los Angeles Rams travel to Tennessee. They travel to Nashville to take on the Titans, the Fighting Cam Wards, as I like to call them. Cam Ward looked not half bad against the Broncos. His stat line wasn't great. His receivers didn't really help him. A couple drops. They had some trouble getting separation. I mean, the Broncos have a really good defense overall. They have a really good team overall, but they have a really good defense. Pat Surtain, arguably the best corner in the league. Not going to lie. Arguably, he might be the best corner in the league. There's a couple guys in the running for that. But couple key drops by the receivers, namely Calvin Ridley, who they signed 4-year, $92 million contract last offseason. So you're going to need him to start catching those balls come around. Pause. You're going to need him to start catching those passes, as the season goes on, especially in crunch time. I mean, their last drive last weekend came down to the wire. They're down 20-12, I think. And he dropped a pass that would have been first down, would have put him, I think, near midfield. But it's just, you got to come up with those. You need a dog at wide receiver 1. Cam Ward may need some help. Very small sample size, but I'm going to take the Rams. This is more biased because I want the Jags to get some help division-wise. I'm going to take the Rams. I think Matthew Stafford just finds a way. Their defense has a lot of talent too, Jared Verse, Jared Fisk. Byron Young, I think his name is, another edge guy they have. They've got a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. And then offense, you can't ignore it. Kyrie Williams at running back. Their backup running back is really freaking good as well, Blake Corum. They've got Matthew Stafford. They've got Devontae Adams. They've got Puka Nacua. Their tight end, Tyler Higbee. He's really good. I think it's a close game, probably a little more low scoring affair. Just like the games last weekend for Tennessee against Broncos, and then also the Rams doubling up on AFC South opponents in the first 2 weeks. They played Houston last weekend, and it was, again, a low-scoring affair. I think they won 14-9, I believe, if I had to guess. Either 14-9 or 17-9, something like that. But Again, I think it's another lower scoring affair. The Titans defense is really underrated, really freaking good. I think the Rams come away with this like 23-16 or something. I think they cover. Maybe, I don't know. 5.5 on the road's tough. I think they backdoor cover maybe, but I think they come away 23-16, something like that. I think the Rams win. Sorry. Titans are just, they're not there yet. I think they could be. Kevin Warren's got something up. But moving along, kind of been a little long on more of a no-name game, I guess. Not more of a headline matchup, but let me take a sip. God, I don't know how I do it, but I make a mean mixed drink. Just saying. No, no bias there. It's only me trying it, but just saying. I make a mean mixed drink. Moving on. New England, the team that just burned my $460 parlay last weekend, they are on the road to face Miami. Again, another divisional matchup. Even though they burned me, I'm going to take them again here. They're like a 1-point underdog right now. I'm going to take them. Miami just feels like such a dumpster fire right now. Mike McDaniel, their head coach, has had a very tough falling from grace over the last season and then last weekend. Over the last season and a half, maybe just season, over the last year plus. Had a very hard falling from grace. He looked like he was just that cool guy that got along with the team. The team loved him. But the problem is, 2 years ago, they reached the playoffs, lost in the first round on the road at Kansas City. And I think it became apparent there that his teams have a fundamental flaw, that they just cannot produce / compete consistently against the top end teams. And look, you can say, hey, look, a lot of those teams have that problem. A lot of those teams are just average. They're just pretty good, and they'll never be anything better than that. The problem is, Miami last season and the season before, they had a lot of talent, man. I mean, they traded him away, but they had Jalen Ramsey on the defensive side. They had Calais Campbell, who's elite rotational guy on the defensive line. Bradley Chubb, they have a ton of talent defensively. Offensively, you have two of the best burners / receivers in the league. Tyreek Hill, the fastest guy in the league, arguably, and Jalen Waddle. I think he's super underappreciated. He is, coming out of Alabama. He is super underappreciated, underused because they have Tyreek Hill, and because they also had two really good running backs in Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. I mean, you have a ton of offensive talent there, and a lot of defensive talent. It's just the problem is they don't compete. They don't, whatever it is, match up well. I think it's his offensive system. They don't match up well against top-end talent and in cold weather. Miami Dolphins in cold weather are horrendous. I don't understand it. Maybe it's just because they're a South Florida team. I don't know. It's really weird. I don't get it. But I'm going to take New England in that game. It's kind of a toss-up. I'm taking New England. Pretty confidently, too. Next game, San Francisco at New Orleans. This game, from an outside perspective, I'm drawing the box. This game should be pretty easy, San Francisco. However, San Francisco, the 49ers are down Brock Purdy for a minimum 2 to 5, or for in the time frame 2 to 5 weeks, and they just placed George Kittle in the IR. Now, this bodes well for my Jags. God, I'm so sorry. Jaguars potentially in week 4 because they travel out to San Francisco. George Kittle's already out. Maybe Brock Purdy's out. He could be back by then. Who knows? But this game becomes a lot more dicey. I don't really know who to pick here. I think I'm going to go San Francisco just off of talent alone. They still have CMC. Mac Jones is going to be their starter, and he's a fully competent backup. I mean, he was on the Jags last season, so I watched him firsthand when Trevor was hurt. He's going to win you some games. He's going to lose you a lot of games, but he's going to win you some games. And I think they have the defensive talent. I think they just have enough to squeak out a win on the road against New Orleans. I do. I'm gonna take San Francisco. That's gonna be a nail biter. I'll take San Fran. Moving on, Buffalo, New York. I'm taking Buffalo. Josh Allen had a miraculous comeback on Sunday Night Football against the Ravens. Sorry, Lamar. Sorry, John Harbaugh. I'm sorry. You got Josh Allen in the fourth quarter. That's just the way it is. 260 passing yards in the fourth quarter is insane. The Jets look somewhat competent offensively against the Steelers, which was a shock. I mean, they put up 30 points, 29, 30 points. They look great. I'm taking Bills. Whatever. It's what it is. Moving on. I just speak of the devil. The Steelers are hosting the Seahawks. I'm taking the Steelers. I like Aaron Rodgers. The over-under in this game is only 39.5, which I guess Vegas is kind of predicting. Rodgers went off last week in a really high-scoring affair. I think they think people, maybe come down to earth. Seattle has a decent defense, and Sam Darnold on offense is kind of sketchy. I'm gonna take Pittsburgh here. I'd take the over on this game if I was betting. If I was a betting man, just because 39.5 seems very low, and Pittsburgh put 32 themselves last weekend. Vegas obviously knows something, but I'm taking Pittsburgh here. Cleveland at Baltimore. Fly Eagles, fly. The Ravens flock. They get their first win of the season. Nothing really there. Denver and Indianapolis. This originally was probably a pretty snoozer game because Indianapolis has been in the trenches for the last couple seasons, like the Jags have been. Indianapolis has some talent, dude. Like, they've got some dogs on their team. This is coming from a Jags fan as an AFC South divisional opponent. It's coming from an Indy. I have to be an Indy hater because I'm a Jags fan. The Colts are the team I least hate in the division out of the other three. Like, they have a lot of likable players. I loved Peyton Manning. I loved Andrew Luck. I just like him. But the thing is, I like Danny Dimes. Like, he could be sneaky, really freaking good on that team. And they showed it last weekend against the Dolphins. They put an ass whooping to Miami. They did. I mean, it was 17-0 and the first quarter. Game's over with at that point. You're down 3 scores in the NFL. It's almost a wrap at that point. You know what I mean? It is. Look, Miami, I just kind of dogged them a little bit, but look, you beat a team like 32-8. It was like 30-0 or something. It was like 29-0 at some point last weekend. The game was over with at halftime. The game was over with in the first quarter. Indianapolis has some dudes, man. Like, I am a little scared of Indianapolis as a Jags fan. They've got good receiving core back, Michael Pittman Jr. They've got Jonathan Taylor. They've got Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end. The dude they drafted last year, A.D. Mitchell, I believe, from Texas, as their like number 3 receiver, is awesome. They have Josh Downs. They have Alec Pierce, I believe, still. Like, they've got some dudes at receiver, some sneaky guys. Tyler Warren's a tight end 1 in fantasy. I don't really care. He's a really good tight end. He's gonna be awesome. Jonathan Taylor, dude. Like, come on. I mean, that dude's awesome when he's healthy. The offensive line is great. Quentin Nelson, etc. It doesn't matter. Them dudes are scary. Defense side of the ball, they're still really good, dude. Like, they have a really good secondary this season. They went out and made some good signings, some good free agent signings. They locked up one of their guys. I think long-term, I say long-term, like 3 or 4 years, they re-signed him, basically. Indianapolis is scary, man. Denver's coming on the road. They struggled mightily with Tennessee last weekend at home, mind you, in Mile High. They struggled. Denver's a 1.5-point favorite. I might have to lean Indianapolis here, dude. I might. If I'm taking Denver, I'm taking Denver money line because I mean 1.5 is 1.5. That's a toss up at that point. I might have to go Indianapolis here, dude. Like, they got some early season magic. Lucas Oil Stadium is going to be rocking. Side note, I was talking to with my friend Cooper at work a couple days ago. Maybe it was yesterday, day before. I told him we actually had this conversation. I said, we need more East Coast games that start at 4 o'clock. We were both tired. We're all tired as NFL fans, as East Coast NFL fans. I'm so tired of every time the 4 o'clock games comes on, it's either Seattle, San Francisco, the Rams. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it always being Seattle, San Francisco, Rams. I need some more pizzazz. CBS, NFL, you guys listened. Indianapolis hosting Denver, 4:05 start time. Let's freaking go, man. I'm so hyped up for this. An East Coast team, East Coast, whatever, not so much East Coast, but a non-West Coast team that is home starting at 4 o'clock. Let's do it, baby. Colts upset the Broncos. I'm calling it now. They upset Bo Nix and the Broncos at home. Let's go, Indianapolis. The 4 o'clock start time is awesome. I will be tuned in. Moving on, one more swig. We got a couple more games. I know I'm going very long this episode is because I didn't do one earlier this week, so I had to make up for it. Carolina and Arizona. You guys hear that static in the background? Yeah, that's gonna be me watching this game. That is a snooze fest, okay? Carolina, as much as you guys want to hype up maybe Bryce Young and just have hope in them, That team stinks. Carolina stinks, man. Like, it's a snoozer. The second half of the Jags-Carolina game last weekend was so boring. The game was over at halftime. It was 20-3. It was over. Everybody knew it. The Jags just kind of just did whatever they wanted in the second half just to kill time. Arizona, they're fun, man. I like Trey McBride. He is arguably one of the best tight ends in the league. Actually, not arguably. He is absolutely one of the best tight ends in the league. They drafted last year Marvin Harrison Jr. I really like him. I think he's got a chance to be one of the best wide receiver ones in the league. Kyler Murray has his moments. I think Arizona, it's a 7.5 point spread. I think it's a close game because Arizona just doesn't blow out bad teams, I feel like. Arizona wins. That simple. Not really going into detail of it. Arguably the best game of the weekend. 4:25 start time Eastern Standard Time. Philadelphia at Kansas City. The Super Bowl rematch from last season and from 2022. The Eagles travel to go on the road to Kansas City. Arrowhead Stadium is going to be rocking. Kansas City lost last weekend to the Chargers. On the road. Well, I guess they were technically the road team in Brazil. Justin Herbert. Hey, man, that guy shocked me last weekend. He showed me something last weekend. Chargers overall showed me something. Back to the point here. Chiefs hosting the Eagles. I'm excited for this one. I'm going to have to be flipping between the Colts game and the Chiefs game for this one. It's so hard to envision the Chiefs starting 0-2 in the Mahomes, Reed, Kelsey era. But I think they do, man. I think the Eagles, they looked unstoppable in the first half against the Cowboys. The second half was just weird. Neither offense could really do much. But it's just Jalen Hurts, that dual threat capability he has. It's so hard to stop them consistently. Because, hey, look, you've got A.J. Brown at receiver. You've got Devontae Smith out wide. They don't even use those guys. They don't even use them. And they still win games with just Hurts, Saquon, and the O-line. It's not fair. How are they that good? Getting off on a tangent. I'm getting worked up. I got the Eagles upsetting the Chiefs. I don't really care. This episode's going long. Good. We're doing a huge primer. I don't really care. Chiefs start 0-2. I don't know when the last time they started 0-2. That's a really good little factoid to look up. I'm going to hit up the old Google AI overview while I'm talking about this. But the last time... I'm literally trying to say what I'm typing right now, but it would be insane if the Chiefs started 0-2 just because it's Mahomes. He's going to go down as arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But Googleinator says the last time the Chiefs started 0-2 was in 2014. You're telling me they have gone over a decade since starting 0-2. That's just not fair. I think that streak breaks this year. I think the Eagles upset them on the road. They're actually favored to win. The Eagles are actually favored to win on the road. That's kind of surprising. But I think the Eagles go on the road and upset the Chiefs. Just saying. I like it. Give me the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Last Sunday game, the Falcons traveled to Minnesota. JJ McCarthy showed a lot in the second half of Monday Night Football. The Vikings came back to upset the Bears. At the end of Monday Night Football, it's kind of a snoozer in the first half. Second half was great. It was the opposite of the Cowboys-Eagles. Cowboys-Eagles, all the fireworks in the first half. Jalen Carter spitting on Dak, a little kinky son of a bitch. Getting ejected 6 seconds into the game. Offense is going to be stopped in the first half. Second half, nothing happened. This game, not much happened in the first half. Everything happened in the second half. Minnesota's a 3.5 point favorite at home against the Vikings. Or against the Falcons. I don't know, man. This is tough. This is actually really difficult because I like Michael Penix Jr., former Indiana guy. Who's your daddy, baby? I know he went to Washington and kind of made his draft profile there. I don't really care. He was originally at Indiana. That's all I care about. But I guess I'll go Minnesota. Minnesota home opener, big win on Monday night. I think they squeak out a win in Sunday Night Football. What's up with all the Minnesota primetime games? Kind of surprised by that. But last 2 NFL games, we got a double dipper on Monday night. These are two awesome. Well, one awesome game. Second, I'll get the second one out of the way first. The Chargers are on the road at the Raiders. The Chargers played last Friday night, so they had an extra day off because they were in Brazil, where they upset the Chiefs. Justin Herbert went off. Quentin Johnston, a lot of people wrote him off last year. me included. He went off. He had 2 touchdowns, I believe. He did great. I mean, Quentin Johnson killed it. Justin Herbert killed it. Omarion Hampton, I really like him. Najee Harris, post fireworks incident, might not be the same guy. He's still pretty good. I got the Chargers winning that on the road. Sorry, Pete Carroll. Sorry, Gino. You're starting 1-1. Chiefs or Chargers starting 2-0. Last NFL game of the week, and then we will call it on the pod. We've been going very long tonight. The Bucks, Baker Mayfield's travel to Houston to play C.J. Stroud. This is a really interesting match. Buccaneers last week went on the road and beat the Falcons. A divisional matchup week 1. They beat the Falcons. Baker started off a little shaky at first, I think. His stat line wasn't looking great in the first half. But hey, they found it. They got enough in the second half. They've got Mike Evans. They've got Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Emeka Egbuka. I'm not sure if Chris Godwin is cleared yet to come back, but he's a fantastic receiver. They've got guys. They've got a lot of both teams have a lot of personnel. The Texans have Nico Collins. They drafted 2 Arizona State receivers, which is kind of crazy. Jaden Higgins and the second guy's not crossing my mind, but Jaden Higgins, I think, was the bigger name out of the 2. But they've got guys. Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Christian Kirk, the tight end, Dalton Schultz. They got guys. Nick Chubb at running back position since Joe Mixon's on IR. At that one, I think my bias comes out here. I think the Bucks go on the road and defeat Houston. I think Houston starts 0-2. Now, even if I'm being biased, this is a really good game, dude. Like, Houston's 2.5-point favorites. I genuinely think that's only because they're at home. I like the Bucks here. The Bucks look very shaky last week offensively. I think they kind of get rolling a little more. I mean, it's a new offensive coordinator, new system, all that. I think they just have just somewhat of a higher gear on offense than the Texans. The Texans only put up 9 points. They didn't even score a touchdown last week against the Rams. Now, obviously, I think they'll score a touchdown this week. You're not going to go 2 weeks in a row with that kind of personnel without scoring a touchdown. I got the Bucks winning. I do. That's it. That wraps up my NFL, headlines. That wraps up the NCAA, college football week 3 headlines, NFL week 2 headlines. We covered a lot this. We really didn't cover a lot this episode, but we did. But we went long. We're almost an hour in. We went over the beef with Spirit Airlines and all that whole shebang shabazz. Still not over it. I still need to get my plane ticket. We will. It's 8:30 now already tonight. Probably tomorrow, maybe. We might get it tomorrow. But covered a lot. If you're gonna bet, tail the picks. If the bet doesn't hit, the parlay doesn't hit, again, I touched on this earlier. It's not my fault. It is 1,000% the players, the coaches, and the home crowd fans' fault. Okay? Just glad we got that out of the way. Now, overall, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Tomorrow's Friday. Everybody party. If you're gonna drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive, please. There's Uber for a reason. There's Lyft for a reason. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry this episode went long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you guys want me to talk about next episode. Love you guys. See you.